It empowers supporters of the human services sector to drive meaningful change, empower supporters, and to make sure that we are heard and seen and that we keep doing our good work. Our mission is to create a stronger Massachusetts, one that protects our most vulnerable neighbors while ensuring human services workers receive the pay, the recognition, and the respect that they deserve. We are the backbone of our communities, tirelessly advocating for those in need and ensuring that everyone has access to the support they deserve. Together, we recognize our collective strengths and the profound impact we have in the lives of countless individuals and families. Our work is not always easy, but it sure is essential. We face challenges every day, yet we rise to meet them with resilience and compassion. By advocating for policies that empower us, we not only improve our capacity to serve, but we strengthen the very foundation of our community. Together, we are effecting change and fighting for the resources we need and ensuring our voices resonate. Initiatives like advancing wage equity for human services workers and supporting professionals through loan repayments are vital steps towards creating a fairer and more equitable environment for all of us involved. We will continue to push these initiatives forward as every policy we influence brings us closer to the brighter future for those we support. So let's continue to inspire each other. Let's share our stories, and let's ignite the spark of our hope and determination here in our communities. We are in this together, and together we can create lasting change. So thank you all for your support, for doing all the things necessary to make sure that our stories and our passion is heard today. And I want to say cheers to the human services workforce. Our dedication makes such a difference every day, and side by side, we will lift up our communities. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Stephanie. It's my honor to introduce someone who's been a champion for human services and for the Caring Force, and that's our Senate President, Karen Spilka. While the Caring Force has evolved over the past decade from our first in 2012, one of the constants at these rallies has remained the support of our Senate President. When we first started recognizing legislators with our Caring Bear Award in 2012, she was among the first honorees. And if you don't believe me, she's got the bear with her to prove it. And he is certainly showing his age, but he's no worse for the wear. The Senate President has been a tireless advocate for human services and always fought for more funding for direct care staff, for nurses, for clinicians, and all workers. In the Senate budget released last week, the Senate President has included $175 million for the Chapter 257 reserve to support more funding for services and improve salaries for workers. It's my pleasure, a real honor, to introduce a true champion and a real friend of our sector, Senate President Karen Spilka.
Thank you so much for that kind introduction. Welcome to the State House Caring Force. You can do better than that. Give yourselves a bigger round of applause. Yay! Yes, great, great. This guy, Quincy Theodore, clearly a QT, has gone through a lot, like all of you, actually. But I think you have worn the years better than poor Quincy. But he still is an important member in my office. I leave him there, so I see him every single day, right? So I want to welcome you all to the State House. Thank you for inviting me to speak today. It's always such a joy to be here and connect with all of the Providers Council and all of you at the Caring Force rally. So thank you for being here today. Thank you. Thank you. On behalf of the entire Massachusetts Senate, I would like to thank you for the work you do every single day, which ensures that our friends and our family members are well taken care of at some of the most vulnerable moments in their lives, both for the clients that you take care of and their families. Let me be clear. We are deeply grateful from the bottom of our hearts for everything that you do every day. Thank you. I also want to take a moment to recognize my friend and colleague, Senator Robin Kennedy, who will get her own Caring Bear today for everything she does. Senator Kennedy is a consistent champion for youth, children, and for families with disabilities, and we are really lucky to have her fighting for all of you and all of us. I was the first chair of that committee when it was formed in 2006, and I am really selective on who the senator is that becomes Senate chair of that committee, and I knew she would do a fabulous job, and she has been doing it, so great selection. I also want to congratulate Representative Finn for all of his hard work and the partnership he has with the House and the Senate to get things done as well. The human services sector has always been close to my heart, so I am proud that the Senate continues to take meaningful action to address the many challenges facing this vital sector. Many of you who may have heard me previously know that I was the legal guardian for my sister who was born with Down syndrome, and she was in a Massachusetts group home for the last 12 years or so of her life. I miss her every single day, and on days that I'm frustrated and tough, I still think of her, and she helps ground me into this is why, you are why I continue to fight the battles, to fight for you and the people and the families that you take care of. So thank you. I know. I know how hard the work is that you do and how much we rely upon you for your caring, your compassion, your hard work and dedication, and what it means to the folks you take care of and their families. We could not exist as a state without you, so thank you. A week ago, the Senate Ways and Means Committee released a responsible and future-focused budget totaling $63 billion that invests most of our dollars in our residents, but includes no new taxes, no new fees. We know that affordability is a key issue facing all of you, so we want you to keep as much money in your pockets as you can. And we know that the human services sector, you all rely on a strong and stable workforce. So we will continue to invest in Chapter 257 rates so we can increase the number of providers serving the field and workers serving in the field and make sure that you have livable wages. We also, yeah. That- We also invest in jail diversion programs, which have diverted nearly 6,000 people from arrest or emergency rooms in just one single year. Help people get the services that they need. We fully fund this work at $19 million, ensuring that when people are in crisis, they are met with the support, treatment, and compassion, not punishment. Of course, housing stability for everyone, including all of you, continues to be a pressing issue. This year's Senate budget includes strategic, compassionate investments to prevent homelessness before it starts, funding $7.5 million for family shelter diversion, strengthening rental assistance, supporting staff who keep our shelter and rehousing systems working every single day. We also streamline local permitting so that we can increase and accelerate housing production, because we know Massachusetts cannot solve homelessness without more homes. We need to lower the cost of renting and buying a house. And we are equally committed to people with disabilities, all types of disabilities, or varying abilities, as I like to call it. After all the progress we have made for young people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, we must protect them from federal cuts, cruel federal cuts, and harm, yes. Unfortunately, there's way too many of them, and it's impacting every person of the state. It's really sad, and to say that it angers, I'm sure all of us in this room, is putting it very mildly. That's why the fiscal year 27 budget establishes a new Turning 22 commission charged with developing solutions for our youth with complex needs as they become adults. And as we face a challenging landscape, we are taking proactive steps. The Senate, I created a Response 2025 initiative to protect our residents in response to all of the Trump cuts and cruelty, that we can protect our residents, defend our Massachusetts values, because they are near and dear to all of our hearts, and help lead Massachusetts during these dark times. We just recently, the Senate passed our version of the PROTECT Act to protect our immigrants across the state, and we will make sure that individuals and families can go to work, can go to their doctor or health care places, can go to the schools, drop their kids off at schools, get essential services without fear of immigration enforcement. We strengthen protections for victims of trafficking and violence, and help guard families, help them safeguard their children should, unfortunately, we have to face reality, should a parent or a legal guardian be scooped up and detained. We have also continued our focus on increasing access to quality and affordable mental and behavioral health. In addition to implementing the ABC Mental Health Act a few years ago, which is working to successfully reduce emergency department boarding and guaranteeing coverage the first time for annual mental health wellness visits. We have expanded support for K-12 school-based mental health programs and similar programs for our public higher education students. And if you have kids or no kids in our public schools, we championed cell phone-free schools, banning cell phones from the bell to bell to help students stay focused and mentally get less bullying and focus on a healthy school experience as they grow and help them learn in an environment which is the most positive possible. These are initiatives are a direct result of your advocacy, so thank you. So even though I am a social worker by training, I am not out in the community every day. So as legislators, we rely upon hearing from all of you. It's essential as we create legislation, as we pass bills. It's so important to hear from our human service providers, our human service workers. You are the experts in this area, and you're here in the State House today. Make sure you visit your state representative, your state senator. Make sure if they're not there, make sure you meet with staff, because staff talks to us every day and will tell us what you have to say. We need to hear from you as we fashion our policies, our budgets. We rely upon you, we hear from you, we listen. So I want to thank you again for taking the time to come today. I know that this community will continue to show up every single day to care for our loved ones, and that fills me with hope. So that's why it's important that we hear from you. We continue to work together, and as a caring force, you fight for those that we will continue to fight with you, and we will fight for the workers, the families, and clients, and every person that Massachusetts calls home. So thank you so much. Have a great day, and enjoy the State House. Thank you.
One more time for Senate President Spilka, thank you, and Quincy Theodore. Now, please join me in welcoming Senator Robin Kennedy. Senator Kennedy is a steadfast champion for the human services sector and a dedicated advocate for the individuals, the families, and the communities we serve across Massachusetts. As chair of the Massachusetts Joint Committee on Children, Families, and Persons with Disabilities, Senator Kennedy has demonstrated a deep commitment to strengthening supports for vulnerable populations and advancing policies that promote dignity, opportunity, and care for all residents of the Commonwealth. Her leadership has helped elevate critical conversations around the workforce development, equitable access to services, and the importance of investing in the human services sector. Senator Kennedy has consistently stood alongside providers, direct care workers, and advocates in fights for meaningful investments in human services. Most recently, she joined our panel discussion during the release of the Providers Council report, Stretched to Capacity, the Workforce Crisis in the Human Services, where she engaged directly with the workforce challenges facing our sector and reinforced the importance of addressing recruitment, retention, and fair wages for a human services worker. Senator Kennedy is truly a champion for change, consistently prioritizing the needs of the underserved, the marginalized, and often the invisible communities through meaningful legislative leadership and unwavering support. She not only advocates for those we serve, but continually shows up and stands with us. We are incredibly fortunate to have her in our corner. So for you, we have a QT.
I don't know, looks like my QT's in better
Younger in there.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. Well deserved. Thank you. Oh, good morning. Good morning. It is so great to be here with all of you. Thank you so much to Stephanie, to Bill, to the entire team at the Providers Council. A special shout out to Caroline, who I understand is responsible for putting this whole day together. So thank you all for the people that are behind the scenes that do so much of the work. I am so humbled and honored to receive this today. You should all know, and I think the Senate President spoke to it, but this is a very coveted recognition here in the legislature. This is a very important recognition. And like with all honors and awards that we receive, to me, this is not about the work that has been done. This is about the promise and the commitment of the work we have to do together, and about my commitment to stand side by side, shoulder with shoulder with you in that work. But this is particularly special to me because I know what this bear represents. This represents over 160,000 employees across the Commonwealth that are the very backbone of this Commonwealth. You, the beautiful faces I see across this room here today, you are the workforce behind the workforce. You are the ones who make sure that children are cared for, that people with disabilities not just have a space to be, but have the opportunity to fully participate in their communities, to fully succeed, and to fully thrive and have the best outcomes in life. You are what makes sure that this Commonwealth continues to move forward, and I understand how important you are. I am so grateful to the Senate President for her continuous lifetime of being a champion for children, families, and people with disabilities here in the Commonwealth. And let me tell you, my friends, it is very big shoes to fill as this role of Senate Chair of this committee. I am so grateful to have the opportunity to follow in her footsteps in doing this work and the important work that is before us. And I want to acknowledge not just the other award recipient today, but former House Chair of the Committee on Children, Families, and Persons with Disabilities, Mike Finn, for his work and his leadership. And I would also be remiss if I didn't take a moment to acknowledge my partner for 2 sessions now, Representative Jay Livingstone, the current House Chair of the Joint Committee on Children, Families, and Persons with Disabilities. We have a lot of work we do together, a lot of really difficult conversations, but I'm grateful to have him as my partner in this work. Thank you. As was mentioned by the Senate President, there is a lot of work before our committee, over 180 bills that we took up this session that we're continuing to work and push forward. And it never goes a day without thinking that every single bill that is before our committee represents truly a tragic situation that a family experienced, represents systemic failures that we have yet to address as a Commonwealth. that continues to think about ways in which we can build up and lift up our workforce here in the Commonwealth. That is incredibly important work, and let me tell you this, we could not do it. We could not get it right if it wasn't for each and every single one of you and the voices that you bring to us every single day in this work. And so I am incredibly grateful to you. But I not only have the opportunity to understand the work you do as a legislator here in the Commonwealth, even as chair of the Joint Committee, I have the privilege to have served alongside providers in the community in the great heart of the Commonwealth, Worcester, Massachusetts, where I served at the YWCA Central Mass before coming to the state legislature here. I served alongside domestic violence advocates, housing specialists, early educators, health equity experts, serving each and every single day, serving our community, serving our Commonwealth. And it's not just me that understands how important you all are. You see, back in 2020, the world woke up to how important you are. There was one magical word that emerged that defined each and every single one of you: essential. When the world shut down, when people were told to go home for their own safety, you all were told to keep showing up to work. You all were told that the work you do is essential to making sure that the Commonwealth can continue moving forward. That work I continue to get to see at the YWCA day in, day out. I saw people showing up, not just at the YW, but in our community to partner together to say, not what can I do for myself, for my agency, my organization, what can we do together as a community to make sure that we not just survive, but we thrive throughout this pandemic. And I was so incredibly honored to be part of that work throughout the pandemic. That is what drove me to run for office back in 2022. And let's be honest, let's speak the truth. You are not paid as essential employees. The work that you do is not recognized. And again, let's speak that harder truth, because to solve a problem, we have to name the problem. The human service workforce has been undervalued and underinvested in for too long. And that is because the workforce is predominantly made up of women, particularly women of color and immigrants. We need to name that, we need to address that, and we need to fix that. And I'm proud to say that I am part of a legislature, I am part of a Senate that is committed to doing so. I'm working side by side with Senator Friedman, who has led legislation for years now that is about championing the human service workforce to raising rates. It's about us investing in our providers so that they can in turn invest in you as their employees to make sure that you are paid a livable wage for the work that you do. And you know, I have a very similar bill to hers, but what's important in this building is it doesn't matter whose name is on the bill, it's that we work together to get the work done. And so I am proud to stand and support Senator Friedman in the Senate side and the work that she's doing in that legislation so that we can continue to lift up the rates that we are paying providers so that in turn we can pay our workforce a livable wage. And that's why important when you go door to door today, and I hope all of you are going to go door to door and talk to your legislators and their staff, you remind them of that word essential. You remind them of where they were and where you were in 2020. You remind them of the work that you were doing and continue to do to lift up the Commonwealth. Because while the world recognized it back in 2020, we never forgot it. You are absolutely essential. The work you do is critical, and we need you in this Commonwealth, and you deserve to get paid accordingly. So thank you all so much. This is truly an incredible honor. I will bring QT with me everywhere. Thank you all. Such a privilege to be there. And so great to see all of my friends and friendly faces from my providers in the 1st Worcester District. So thank you all so much.
Wow. How about another hand for Senator Kennedy, please? Thank you, Senator. That was a lot of fun. Do you want to give out one more QT Legislator of the Year award? What do you say? Let me introduce you to a legislator who's been in our corner from the very start. That's Representative Michael Finn, representing the 6th Hampton District in the communities of Agawam, Chicopee, West Springfield, and Westfield in Western Massachusetts. Let's hear it. Rep. Finn has been a strong and consistent advocate for the human service provider community. He takes a genuine interest in understanding human services, asking questions throughout the sector, meeting with workers, meeting with consumers, and really understanding the services provided in his district. When legislation is impacting our industry, Representative Finn helps. He has filed amendments the past 2 years to the House budget to protect Chapter 257 and protect services and salaries for workers. Rep. Finn also takes time to visit programs and agencies firsthand, demonstrating his commitment to learning directly from the people doing the work every day. Simply put, this is a representative who shows up for human services, and his dedication makes a meaningful difference. I'm thrilled this year to present Representative Finn with the Caring Bear Award as one of our Legislators of the Year.
Shift, yeah, okay, we're shifting.
Still shift.
Without falling off. All right.
Don't fall.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, you ready to do this? All right, perfect. Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for having me here. Bill, thank you very much for the introduction and for the leadership of the Providers Council. This award means a great deal coming from you, and I'm very glad to be here among so many people who care so deeply about this work. I'm truly humbled to accept this recognition of the Caring Force and the Providers Council. The work this organization does on behalf of the most vulnerable people in Massachusetts is extraordinary. And the fact that you take time each year to rally here at the State House and make your voices heard is exactly the kind of advocacy that this Commonwealth needs. Receiving the Caring Bear Award is something that I'm going to carry with me for a very, very long time. Actually, I'm going to put it up in my office, so we'll, like similar to the Senate President, so we'll have it. When I served as the House Chair of Children, Families, and Persons with Disabilities, it was some of the most meaningful work of my legislative career. Hearing directly from providers about the challenges they face, the budgets they stretch, and the lengths that their workers go to for the people they serve gave me a perspective on the work that I will never forget. It shaped how I approached every hearing, every vote, and every conversation with leadership about human service budgets and policies that support the people that depend on them most. One of the moments I was most proud of was helping pass the archaic language bill in the House, removing derogatory terms from our laws and replacing them with respectful person-first language. Words matter. The language we use in statutes sends a message about who we are as a Commonwealth and how we value every single person who lives here. And I'm going to go off script here because my staff did a great job preparing a speech for me, but that was some of the hardest conversations that we had. The archaic language bill required, a lot of work. It had been a bill that had been filed for, I think, for around a decade before it finally got moved through the House. And it required Herculean efforts from the staff of the committee that I was lucky enough to chair at that time. We had to reach out to every state agency. We had to go through every statute. And we had to get, financial and legal sign-off from every agency within the Commonwealth, and that was not an easy thing to do. And after we did all that work in the term that I was lucky enough to chair, it then required a second set of eyes with Chair Livingstone, and Jay's staff had to go through it and found about a half a dozen statutes that we had missed. But at the end of the day, it was a product that I felt very proud to have had a small role in. Hold on a second, now I got to find my spot because I just lost it. I also have fought and will continue to fight for a state budget that treats human services not as a line item to be trimmed, but as an investment in the dignity and the potential of every Massachusetts resident. Sound human service policies are not just good for the people being served, it's good for our communities, it's good for our workforce, it's good for our economy. The work doesn't stop when the rally ends, though. With over 31,000 Caring Force members behind this mission, I know this moment is not only getting stronger, and I am grateful to be counted among your allies. So let me say it plainly. Thank you. Really, thank you for taking the time to be here today. Thank you for the time to think of me and to provide me with this beautiful bear that's going to be in my office prominently displayed. And I really just want to say I hope you enjoy the rest of the day meeting with other members of the legislature in both the House and the Senate, and make sure that they hear your voices, because your voices are very, very important to who we are as a Commonwealth. So thank you very much.
Wow. Another tall guy ahead of me. So again, special thanks to Senator Kennedy and Representative Finn. You guys are really true champions of our work. Let's give them another round of applause. We're so very happy to be able to present them with the Caring Bear Awards today. Next, please join me in welcoming Katie Ilkovich, whose work in the human services field is driven by a deep passion for helping young people use and find their voices, especially in environments where they may feel unheard or uninhibited. Katie began her career with a degree in rehabilitation counseling, which led to experience in the court systems and later as a high school paraprofessional in the Outer Cape. This May marks Katie's 4th year at JRI, where she first served as a family partner while pursuing her master's degree in special education. Today, she works as an in-home behavioralist while completing a second master's degree in mental health counseling. We need those. So her dedication to supporting youth and family through advocacy, education, and behavioral health truly reflects the heart of the human services sector. Please help me welcome Katie Ilkovich.
Can you hear me? Okay, good morning. My experience, both personally and professionally, is not unique. It reflects what so many of my colleagues in the human service field are living every single day, and it is important that those realities are heard. Standing here today in this building, I'm reminded of a time when I was here as a mother. My son was being recognized for his success through the JRI TAP program. The event was a legislative breakfast series honoring the work of clinicians and those they serve. This was 2015, and he was 11 years old. I remember sitting there, watching him and reflecting on how far he had come and feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude. My gratitude for the people who did not give up on him, the consistency of their care and compassion. Today, I'm here in a different capacity. My name is Katie Ilkovich. I'm a graduate student in a mental health counseling program here in the Commonwealth. I hold the master's degree in special education and work as an in-home behaviorist at JRI. Oh, sorry, too fast. Based on the Cape, and I am the mother of a young adult with autism. As a single mother of a child, there were times when I felt completely overwhelmed trying to navigate services, advocate for my child, and mostly trying to hold everything together. There were moments of uncertainty. During those times, JRI was more than a provider. They were a lifeline that supported stability and hope. But at the same time, I was struggling in many ways that people couldn't see. While in graduate school, a requirement to work as a clinician, I face financial instability. I'm constantly trying to figure out what I can afford and what I have to go without, making impossible choices that no parent, no student, and no future clinician should have to make. There are many sleepless nights, concerned for my son's well-being and the weight of financial stress. I wonder how I will pay back the loans I need in order to work in the field that I care so deeply about. This is the reality for so many of my colleagues. As I step more fully into this profession, I see dedicated, compassionate, and highly skilled clinicians doing this work because they care deeply, but also who are stretched to their limits. I see colleagues working multiple jobs, delaying their own life milestones, and leaving the field altogether, not because they want to, but because they cannot afford to stay. I see agencies struggling to recruit and retain staff. I see long wait lists for services, and I see families that are desperate for our support. As a parent, I am aware of the anticipation and angst while waiting for services to begin, and then the sweet moment of relief when the voices are being heard, rapport has been established, and progress has begun. Then the feeling of loss and defeat when the clinician closes because their job does not provide them with a livable wage. This workforce issue causes a disruption in care, a loss of trust in the system, a step backward for families who have already fought so hard to move forward. The bill relative to the livable wage for human service workers is essential. A livable wage is not an extra benefit. It is the baseline requirement for a stable, effective workforce. It allows clinicians to stay in their roles, build meaningful relationships, and provide consistent care that leads for real outcomes. A loan repayment program for human service workers is just as critical. Entering this field requires significant education, time, and financial sacrifice. Without a loan repayment support, we are asking people to take on a debt for a career that may not allow them to meet their basic needs. We are losing talented, passionate people, not because they lack commitment, because the system is not sustainable. These two bills are not just about supporting workers, they are about protecting the quality and continuity of care for the people who rely on these services every day. They symbolize gratitude for those working in the human services field and honor the youth and their families. I stand here today as both a mother and a clinician, having experienced the system from both sides. I know what it means to rely on others in your most vulnerable moments, and I know what it takes to show up for others in theirs. No one should choose between helping others and being able to financially survive themselves, and no family should have to wonder if the person helping them today will still be there tomorrow. Passing these two bills is a commitment to the providers, the families, and to the future of mental health care in Massachusetts. It is how we ensure that the care that changed my son's life is still there for the next family who needs it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you very much for sharing your story. Now, please help me in welcoming Carla Norris. We can give her some applause. Carla serves as the Director of Client Services at the AIDS Project Worcester, a nonprofit AIDS service organization that provides health and wellness, education, and advocacy services to individuals living with or at risk of HIV in Central Massachusetts. She began her work at APW in 2006 as a peer support staff, and in 2009 became the peer program coordinator and has been in her current role since 2013. Carla's commitment to HIV and AIDS advocacy is deeply rooted in her personal experience as a woman who has been living with HIV since 1995. A trailblazer in the field, she has long advocated for others navigating their HIV diagnosis and living authentically by openly sharing their lived experiences and hers around substance use and HIV diagnosis. Please help me give a warm welcome to Carla Norris. You have your papers? Hi. Okay, nice.
Good morning, everybody. I just want to read something. The Commonwealth is the largest purchaser of human services in Massachusetts, contracting with community-based nonprofits to deliver care to our most vulnerable residents. Yet, the model budgets the state creates for these programs build in salaries that fall short of what the state pays its own employees. This isn't just unfair, it's destabilizing the entire sector. With nearly 150,000 plus jobs in human services, I want to say special workers, the pay gap is making it harder every year for community-based organizations to recruit and retain qualified workers. So again, my name is Carla Norris. I do work at AIDS Project Worcester, and I have been employed there since 2006. This is my first rally, and I'm grateful to be here. I am one of those 150,000 plus workers alongside of most of you in here. But I am not only a service worker, I am also someone who has benefited from the many services provided to me by a human service worker. So today, I stand here. In 13 days, I will have 25 years clean, free from substances. And as she read my bio, I was diagnosed HIV positive in 1995. And I just want to say, there is no secret anymore. There is no shame anymore. Today, I am living with, not dying from. And thank you, Francine Coleman. May you rest in peace for the support that you poured into me when I needed it at that time. So these are some of the services that were provided to me by a special worker. And while I was going through self-destruction in my life, domestic violence, lack of insurance, substance use, homelessness, HIV care, linkage, a primary care provider, housing, nutrition, legal issues, therapy, counseling, job training, and even employment. And I've been at AIDS Project Worcester for almost 20 years, and I'm grateful to be working there. And I think of a colleague who came to this country. Her American dream was to bring her children here, go to school, and now I listen to her week after week how she's struggling to pay those student loans that she obtained her master's. I don't even have a master's, and I've been here all my life. But to see her struggle, do I pay my mortgage? Do I pay for daycare? Do I pay for food? Do I pay these loans? So I want to thank Senator Spilka for supporting this fight all these years, all the state reps and legislations that are supporting these two bills. Livable wages. Livable, I think of that as suitable and comfortable. Every day when I get my pay, I'm not comfortable and I'm not living suitable. But someone, as I just read at the State House, they're living comfortable. I would love for our salaries to match theirs. We're doing the same work. So today, my life has completely changed because of a human service worker. Today, I know I don't look like what I have been through. So I would like to ask other legislators, if you are not in support of, haven't joined on, please support these bills. Please support Chapter 257 so both bills can be passed, so us who are doing this work on the front lines every day can show up with dignity to love on, to provide for support for the vulnerable communities and individuals that we serve. Thank you.
Carla, thank you for sharing your powerful story with us today. And now, last but certainly not least, we have Nancy Lucera Brand from Riverside Industries. Nancy works as a direct support provider in the Life Enrichment Program at Riverside Industries in East Hampton, Massachusetts. She has been working in the human services sector for 12 years, serving populations within the disability community. Nancy and her husband Mike have 2 adult children, and before becoming an advocate for the caring force, she has been a long-standing advocate for her son, who was born with autism and receives services from Riverside Industries. She is passionate about her work and about furthering inclusivity in Western Mass. Please welcome me in joining Nancy Lucera Brand.
Thanks. All right. Everybody can hear me? Okay. Thank you. I'm going to start off this by waking you guys a little bit up. So got my cheat sheets. Okay. I'm not perfect like anybody else. Good morning, caring force. Can I hear it? Yeah, we awake? All right. Thank you for giving me this opportunity today to advocate for the livable wage of human service bill. Okay? It is one of 2 bills that we're here today to discuss among our state reps for this very important, any important coming year. Okay? Any important year. That's how important we are. We are at Riverside. Hold on, I just skipped a whole bunch. My introductory, okay? It's like it was previously stated in this introductory, I am a direct support provider at Riverside Industries in the Life Enrichment Program. We are 143 staff strong under 1 building, okay? We serve 260 to 270 clients with physical and intellectual disabilities from 33 towns. So we cover a lot of mileage in the day. Right? We, as well as a parent of a 29-year-old son named Christopher, who is autistic and is enrolled in community day-based services, also at Riverside. There's my crew. Hi, crew. I made it. Okay. Thanks to his DSP workers and this programs, he has flourished and continues on doing so. So big thanks out to you guys. Some examples are he has become more vocal with adults in his own quirky way. He has, like everybody else, he has his specialties that he's able to converse in. Okay? He shows empathy towards others in his group when others have a rough day. So don't let anybody fool you and say that our guys don't have empathy. They show it in different ways, and it is out there. You just got to look for it. Okay? And he goes out into our community in East Hampton and helps with the fires. So thanks, guys, for doing that part of it for me. Over the years, he has shown me how to slow down in this fast-paced world. I think since after COVID, it has really revved up, and we need to take a step back and just take that breather. And that's exactly what he does. He gives me the time to breathe, regroups, as well as to celebrate the moments which some people seem so insignificant. We cherish those small jumps, those small movements that everybody sometimes overlooks in the real world. He always knows I have his back when things feel too overwhelming. I am his support, and I advocate for him today, and he's here advocating and supporting me. Chris, thanks, bud. Mom appreciates it. But today, I am here to advocate not only for my staff at Riverside, but for all human service workers out there. Those of us who work directly with our families in their homes, those in residential housing, not an easy job. Okay? Those who support clients in the outside community and help them lead and thrive in their lives. And that's what part of Riverside does. We go out and we give our guys an opportunity to work in our universities. So they're out there, they're public, they get to know what's going on. Now more than ever, we need to ensure a livable wage so that we can recruit, retain, and support our valuable caring force, and we are valuable, and help us to expand into the future with new knowledge of our ever-growing elder care, because we do support our elderly, and we're not getting younger, and our neurodivergent population, who has definitely grown significantly. Here are some of the facts from the Provider Council report, Stretching Capacity, Our Workforce in Crisis in Human Services. 80% of us are women. Women, power to us ladies that we take extra care. All right. 72% of those guys are primary wage earners who work a second job. If they're not working a second job, their significant other is providing that extra income to come in. So we're giving up not only our free time, but our free time with, if we have, our families, so that we can provide for others that we care about deeply. Our median income is $34,273. Okay, so if we figure that out, that's before our health insurances and everything else gets taken. That's not much to come home to, huh, guys? And to be able to have our food on the table, have a house over our head, all right, clothes on our back, be comfortable with what we got. All right. We are also considered in the low income wage bracket. So that's not where we're supposed to be. No, we keep hearing that we want out, that we want to be able to live. We want to support ourselves. We want to lift up Massachusetts. We got to get out of that bracket, okay? That means that 1 in 6 human service provider is in that situation. Okay. Nearly 36% are people of color. So thank you for giving up your lives as well and your families. 24%, 1 in 4 of the force, are foreign-born. That means we're doing something sort of right. Some people want to come into this. They have big hearts. They want to show that they have this. They make up 2/3 of our providers across America. That's a big gap. And we're affected by that if other legislation goes into place and they're scared to be out there. How can we help recruit, retain, and support our DSP workers? Raise our wages and our classifications, okay? So that we can recruit and qualified staff and not have to compete with the federal and state municipality wage, okay? Increase our Medicare funding reimbursement to keep programs like mine, Dayhab, and community and vocational programs viable for those who have been on waiting lists, all right? Especially our elderly population and our young adults phasing out of schools. This caring force faces many mental, physical, and affordability challenges to stay in Massachusetts and in our field. Okay? Yes, we are burnt out. And we say it. We say it to each other. You know, how's our day going? How's our week going? Sometimes we don't even have to say, it's just felt, and we see it, you know. It's like, yeah, just for some of us, it's the weekend, time to regroup, okay? And in our hearts, and in our bodies are tired, okay? So we crave for those couple of days off to ourselves, to enjoy, to distress, to breathe, to regroup with our families, maybe go on a little day trip, you know, away from everything. All right, so what we need from our state reps, we need them to be our advocates now, okay? We're here to show, and they need to hear us, that our fight is to be the best caring force that we can achieve to be. Guys, thank you for letting me be here. And use that voice. Use the power of the pen. Thanks.
Wow. Please keep that applause going for all our speakers this morning. That was amazing. Thank you. A fantastic morning. Before we discuss instructions for advocating, we just need to thank a few other folks. That begins, too, with Stephanie Steed for emceeing the event today. Thanks, Stephanie, for all the work you do with the Caring Force. Certainly, thank you to Senate President Spilka. Thanks to Senator Kennedy and Rep. Finn. We also were joined, they've been in and out. There's a lot of hearings in the building today, but stopping by were Rep. Lenatra, Rep. Badger, Representative Wong, and the offices of Representative Dom and Senna. Please give them a round of applause as well. And I'd, of course, be remiss this morning if I didn't thank our Providers Council staff. That's Caroline Bacourt, John DeSilva, Tracy Jordan, Nina Lamar, Maureen Lynch, Molly Oram, Ann Schuler, and, of course, very special thanks to Caroline O'Neill and Isabella Lee. This would not have been possible without Caroline and Isabella. They're right here. Please give them a round of applause. And now I'll welcome Isabella to the podium. She's going to give us some instructions on how to participate in advocacy with your legislators, and she's going to wrap up our program this morning. So give a hand for Isabella.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank you today for showing up, for advocating, for wearing your Caring Force gold, and also, most importantly, for always opening my emails. It's so important. In just a few minutes, if you'll have to bear with me for just a few more minutes, we're going to disperse and go into the State House so that you can speak with your legislators and meet them. Coming to Beacon Hill today offers everyone an opportunity to speak with them, let them know that your voice is here and is ready to be heard. It gives you a chance to share your why you came here today, why you're dedicated to human services. Don't forget that each and every single one of you is an expert in your human services story, and legislators need to hear that. We have resources available for you to further support these conversations with your elected officials. We have copies of our legislative priorities out in the grand staircase at the tables, as well as our Leave Behind letter, which you can find by the grand staircase. The Leave Behind letter has a couple of prompting questions for you so that you can list out why you're in human services and which organization you're with today, and that really helps legislators understand what we're rallying for and why what we're advocating for is so essential. Some of the facts that you heard today from our wonderful, wonderful speakers are going to be on that sheet too, so you can use some of that data too to support your conversation. Please fill out 2 copies of the letter, one for your representative and one for your senator, and leave them behind with their office so that they can identify you and also get back to you to let you know that they're going to support this legislation. If you need help identifying your representatives and you're not sure who they are, we have QR codes all around this room on the walls and as well on the hallway on this side for you to scan, and you can input your address to see who your representative and your senator is. Please feel free to use your personal address or your work address since you are a constituent of both places. If you need further assistance, please feel free to find someone in a red shirt. Can our red shirts in the room kind of give us a wave? Perfect, awesome. Thank you so much for volunteering today. They'll be able to help you out. Each of them has a map of the State House if you're trying to find a certain room. One of my key tips is for an office number, typically the first number corresponds to the floor that they're on. So if it's 403, head to the 4th floor and that should help you find it. Finally, with the help of our legislative priorities sheet, we hope that you'll thank our legislators in both the House and the Senate for including $175 million this year for Chapter 257 in the budget, but also ask them to pack forward $85 million from last year's budget to this year so there are no funding gaps and there is no backsliding for human services. Please also ask your legislators to support our livable wage and student loan repayment bill, which are detailed on our legislative priorities sheet. Let them know how increased funding for human services would serve to recruit and retain workers in this field here in Massachusetts. Let them know how it would maintain essential support for the people that you care for by making sure that you can remain in the sector and have a livable wage. Or let them know how those people and that staff supports you and empowers you to live your daily life. Ask if they'll commit to supporting the legislation and if you can do anything to help that process along. Ask them if they'll discuss it with their colleagues and keep it top of mind throughout the end of the legislative session this year. This event means so much to our board and our staff, but it would be nothing without every single one of you showing up today in the rain, in the heat, in the crowd to come here and make your voice heard and to advocate alongside the caring force. Thank you for being a member. Good luck with your meetings, and we'll see you next year.